much indeed. Thank you very much indeed. So first of all, I want to do the Cuisinart soup maker with you. And if we have enough time, and whilst that's actually cooking, I'm going to do the FoodSaver, which is a vacuum saver. First of all, how many people cook soup? You're in the right place. Okay. Anybody heard of Cuisinart before? Has anybody heard of Cuisinart? Cuisinart's an American company. If I tell you, for the people that don't know, they're part of the Babylus, the hair straighteners, the shavers, everything like that. So a very, very big American company. And 3.5 years ago, they bought out the soup maker. It's British designed, yes. Although being an American company, America's only just had it in the last year. So we've had it for 2.5 years. So first of all, it is a normal blender. It does everything that a normal blender does, okay? However, it's unique in 4 different ways, because I'm going to cook the soup in here in 20 minutes time, and then hopefully some of you are going to be able to taste it. I'm doing a carrot and coriander today. The recipe that I'm doing is in your goodie bag, along with a very, very naughty Anita's hot chocolate that's got a little bit of alcohol in it. But I decided that I would stick to the traditional soup today to do the demonstration. So the 4 unique features for the actual machine is that you've actually got a hot plate in the bottom. So it's really like your saucepan on, glass saucepan on top of your cooker. So you've got a hot plate in the bottom where the heat comes through and cooks it. You have 6 blades in the bottom. Sorry, I'm going a bit weirdo here. Normally in a blender you only have 4 blades, whereas in this you have 6. And in actual fact, the base plate is flat. So the bottom 2 blades go round and pick up everything. How many times do you blend something and you get the plop plop bit? I don't know the proper word for plop plop bit, but you know when you pour it out and you get the plop plop bits at the end that have missed the blades, because normally a blender is like that with the blade there and you get a void area. Well, that's the plop plop bit that I call. Whereas with this one, it's flat and the bottom 2 blades actually go round. You've also got a reinforced glass, which means that you can cook in it and it will stand the heat. If you, in actual fact, do cooking in a normal blender, if you put heat into a normal blender, please don't, because what will happen is you will crack the glass, okay? And then the 4th unique feature is that the lid doesn't fit. And the reason that the lid doesn't fit is because the steam's got to come out via cooking, and also when you're blending, the pressure's got to come out. Otherwise, the whole thing explodes. So what I'm going to do, first of all, I use the machine slightly differently to how the instruction booklet says. The instruction booklet tells you to fry the onions off on the base plate. So if you buy one of these today and you're seeing that, you're thinking that's not how Anita used it. That's because I prefer to put 800 millilitres of water in first of all. I turn it on. I then take the timer up to 20 minutes because that's going to be my entire time for cooking my soup. There we go. And then I pop it onto high. So really all I've done is I've just turned the cooker on here. Okay? You can either work from cold water or hot water. I've decided that I've just heated some water in here to start with, just so that it would get going a lot quicker for demonstration purposes. So you can already see that the water is just starting to bubble, so it really does react very, very quickly. So we're going to put a stock in. I do like to use normal stock, homemade stock, but has anybody ever come across the Knorr jelly stock cubes? Fantastic. So I put that into 800 millilitres of water. If you look at the packet, it will tell you to put 2 of these into 1 litre. However, I prefer to put it into 800 and then you get it a little more tastier. Okay, so as I said, the instructions actually tell you to fry your onions off on the base plate with some oil. So what you can see is now I'm going to add my raw onions, so I am actually boiling my onions rather than frying them off. I can't actually see the point of putting fat into something if there is no need. Plus at the end I'm going to make up with it with a little bit of naughtiness anyway. So that's the onions in. I'm then going to put You're going to get ready to catch these, aren't you? And they all go. No, they're all gone in. Okay. Some carrots in. I normally put about 500 grams, which is something like about five carrots. And then just a tiny bit of pepper there, just to give it a bit of flavour. And then I always work with fresh herbs. I don't know whether anybody else feels the same as me, but I always feel that fresh herbs work so much better than dried herbs. So pop that in. It doesn't matter that everything is standing slightly proud of the water, because it will actually come down. And then, of course, some salt and pepper. There we go. In actual fact, there's an offer on Cuisinart Soup Maker at the moment. If you purchase one, you get a free pepper mill and salt mill with it, and they're lovely. I did have them. I did have a box out somewhere. Maybe it didn't come through with me, but there's a very nice free pepper mill that comes with it. So that's all your preparation, okay? So lid goes on, and we wait for that to come to the boil. Now, if you can see, you've got two levels here. You've got a 1.4 level, and you have a 1.75 level, litre level. If you are making smoothies, ice, anything like that, anything that's cold, it can go to 1.75 litres. However, if you're doing heat, thank you, that's the free pepper mill that you get with the soup maker, okay? However, if you are doing heat, then only go to 1.4. And the reason being is you need that little bit extra, because it's going to start boiling, and you need that bit. And plus, if you decide at the end that you want to liquidize your soup, again, you need that little bit of extra bit. Very, very occasionally, my water level, in actual fact, will go slightly higher than that. So all I do is, when I'm demonstrating anyway, I'll just lift that out, and it will evaporate. But at home, there's no need. If you keep to the 1.4, then just keep the lid in like that. But when I'm in store demonstrating, I obviously want to get the smells all the way over the shop floor, and if everybody say, what's that smell? So that's why I lift the lid. So the soup is just about to be made. As I say, it's 20 minutes in total. So that's going to go away nicely. We're going to wait for it to come to the boil. And then once it's at the boil, then I'm going to turn it down. You have two sections on the machine. The top section is when you're blending, either hot or cold, and the bottom section is really like the heat part. Can everybody see? Can you see at the back there? Can you see the bottom part? I can't lift it up, unfortunately. So the top part of this is the minutes, and then you have three buttons at the bottom. It says hot, low, and simmer. So really, it's hot is bringing something to the boil, low is when you're actually cooking something, and simmer is obviously when you're wanting to warm up or keep something at a much lower heat. So it's the equivalent of kind of like number 6, number 3, and number 1 on your cooker. Once you've made the soup, and this will make 4 bowls of lunchtime size soup and 6 starter size soup. So it actually holds quite a lot. And my soups do freeze. Often, if I'm demonstrating over the winter months, I'm obviously demonstrating soups, kind of every day in different stores. And so rather than throwing it away, I'll bring it home with me. And in actual fact, I've near enough started up a soup kitchen in my road, because as soon as I pull into the driveway in the evening, all the curtains are twitching, and the little old biddies are saying, I wonder what she's made today. And of course, everybody gets different soup every single day. Or I decide to put some in my freezer, because of the naughtiness that I put in at the end. You don't have to put cream in, but because of the naughtiness that I put in at the end, I obviously don't eat soup every day, otherwise my hips kind of tend to expand. So I tend to put mine in the freezer, but I forget to label it. So in January and February, when I'm not doing it so much, it's a free-for-all of what I'm taking out of the freezer. But as long as it's tasty, it doesn't really matter. So you can make your soup in the morning if you want to, The whole jug will go into your fridge if you want to cool it down and keep it for later in the day, and then you put it back on here, put the timer on again exactly as I did before by pushing the power button, however many minutes you wish to warm the soup up for, and then push simmer. So warm it up on simmer. You have a stir button here, and that's what you're going to actually turn it with. So if I do that now, you'll see that the blades are going round. Okay, slightly chopping the vegetables. You don't have to do that, but just to show you that that's what it will actually turn the machine. So we're going to wait for that to come to the boil, and then I'm going to turn it down. Whilst that's cooking, I'm going to go on to the FoodSaver. Now the FoodSaver, let me just clear this. FoodSaver is a lovely product for preserving food. Do you know that 453 pounds a year is thrown away in the bin by all of us not saving our food correctly? With the FoodSaver, it will save food 5 times longer than it would do just in your fridge. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't really want to start eating that apple. I did that, how long ago? 2 hours ago? 3 hours ago, something like that. In the FoodSaver that has now taken all the air. I've done a few samples. You can see the difference in the colour here. I've also done a banana. Again, that's beginning to start getting a bit brown and horrible. And again, I actually did this demonstration, and although I wouldn't have liked to have eaten it, I actually kept a banana for 7 days, and it stayed looking like that. So what I was really trying to show people was that by taking the air out of the bag and sealing it, you can keep food for so much longer. Okay, so the easiest way to use the machine, they come with bags, and they also come with a roll. It's the type of bag, 2 different sizes. This is the smaller size. You've got like a hardness on one side, okay, but these are rewashable. So you can wash them up, if you're just putting fruit in them or something like that. I wouldn't suggest that you rewash up something with a mackerel in, because obviously it will be a bit smelly once you open it. But if I can give that to you and pass it round, have a smell. My instructor, obviously, as you can tell from my accent, I'm not from around here, and I flew up from London last night. So obviously I couldn't come up with smelly food and that sort of thing in my bag. And I asked Sandy and his wife to get me the smelliest fish ever. And that's exactly what you went into the fishmongers and said, whatever it is, the smelliest fish. And it's even better if it's gone off a bit for this particular demonstration. And obviously you can see and smell that it's going to keep it so much fresher. Obviously you would put that into your fridge. The other thing that it's good for is not just food. I've got some coffee here, and in actual fact, I'm going to open this. Have you got a pair of scissors? Yes, I've got them. Now, I sealed that. When was the AIS show? February? February. I sealed that in February, okay? Coffee beans. I didn't think I was going to do this today, but you smell that and pass that round. So how long have they been in there? February, March, April, so 3 months, something like that. You start putting coffee beans into a plastic bag. There is no way that you're going to get that smelling the way that the freshness in that. So have a smell of that. In actual fact, just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to use the one that's actually been out in the air. So all you do is pop the apple in, pop it into the machine. There we go. So that's all the air being taken out. You can hear the difference in the machine. Everything is done automatically, although you do have an override situation in this, and then the red light comes up to say that it's actually sealing the bag. When all the lights go out, then it's ready. Okay, and that will stay with you for months. As I say, it keeps food 5 times longer. So it really is worth investing in something like a vacuum sealer, because you can keep your food. And when you think about it, all of us go to, do you have Asda's up here? You do. There was one of them you don't have. Which, do you have Tesco's? You don't have Waitrose now? Right, okay. I knew there was one of the big supermarket chains that you didn't have up in Scotland. But I mean, things like Asda's and everything, you know, you can buy such big packets, and it's obviously much, much cheaper to buy that sort of thing in bulk. So all you've got to do is then take it out, put it into these bags, and it means that then you are actually saving. The other thing that's good is, you know, when you put chicken into bags and you put them into boxes and whatever into your freezer, and you get that freezer burn on chicken, you will never ever get that with the FoodSaver. The other thing that, in actual fact, I found out to my cost last night coming up, you know, all the rules and regulations about you can't have creams in your bags when you fly over 100 mils or something like that. Hence the reason why I don't have any hairspray on today, because it got confiscated last night. So please excuse. But things like I had some, I put some cream into a small pot, didn't do the lid up. What happened? It went over my entire bag. Little things like shampoos, that sort of thing. Going on holiday. So it's not just for food. You can do an array of things. If you're doing something like you're going to the seaside for the day, and you don't want to get sand in everything, again, put it into one of these. You can use the machine without taking the air out of it. So if you want to just purely seal the bag, then absolutely fine. But obviously to preserve anything and to stop liquid coming out or anything like that, then obviously it works a lot better. But I just wanted to show you that, you know, it's not just for food. You can do so many different things with it. It comes with a tiny little box, which is great for things like liquid. Obviously, everything that you see here doesn't have any liquid in it. But if you put something like soup into this and then take the air out, again, what happens is it will preserve it for that much longer. So that actually comes in the machine. However, today, as the soup maker comes with the free Cuisinart pepper mill, the FoodSaver comes with a marinade box. And what you actually do is you take the little lever from here, push it into there, and it takes all the air out. Now, normally, I don't know about you, but when I marinate something, I marinate it overnight. Yeah, does everybody do exactly the same? Okay. With this, you can put your meat in, put all your marinade in as well, take the air out of this, and 10 minutes later, open it, turn it all over, do it again. So in 20 minutes, you have done exactly the same marinading, and it will break down all the fatty tissues within the meat that you would have had overnight. So it's much, much quicker as well. Plus, again, you've taken the air out, which means that it's going to preserve it for that much longer. So this bowl is actually this bowl is actually free today with the machine. Prices, everything like that, are downstairs. So you can ask the girls downstairs. But this is a totally automatic machine that you can then turn into a manual machine. The thing with the mackerel actually came on a roll, and I have a roll here. Okay, can you see the roll just in there? So that you can actual fact, if I wanted to do something like a salmon or something like that, and all you've got to do then is pull it out as long as you want, put that over the top, and cut it. So I've now got a bag like that, and then you would just put it into the machine, seal the top end, put the food in, put that end into the machine exactly as you saw me do with the apple, takes the air out of it and it reseals it. So a very, very well worth machine. You would probably have to have it a little while before it starts paying for itself, but obviously something like this, I mean, it's got a 2-year guarantee with it, so something like this will in the end pay for itself and your food will stay much, much fresher. Okay, has anybody got any questions so far? Oh, I've done my job properly then. Okay. Yes. Yes, you can, and the store stocks them. Yeah. But if you want to, I actually even found out the other day, you can put these into your dishwasher. I often get dishwasher and washing machine muddled up. Normally I'm testing people to see whether they're listening to me if I say put it into the washing machine. But yeah, you can put them into your dishwasher, and they'll, in actual fact, do you want to pass that round and they can feel the inside of the bag. So, yes, you can do them in freezer, you can do them in fridge, you can do them in microwave. So yeah, you've got a silicone seal. In actual, there we go, you've got a silicone seal just along the edge there. Yeah, they can go into the dishwasher because that can just be pulled out. So, so yes. The other thing, I was going to do this one just to show you. Let's use a bigger bag. This is the second size bag it comes with. And I was just going to show you the power. Everybody smell the soup now? How many minutes have I got left? 2 minutes. Okay, I didn't bother turning it down, but because I'm standing with it. But if you were at home, you would have, once it came to the boil, you'd have then turned it down and gone away and done something. Okay, so we've got that in there. So let's pop that into the machine. Now that is just a normal can of Red Bull. Okay, pop it into the machine. Everything does automatically, and you will see look at the pressure. I wouldn't suggest you did that when it was full. Sandy actually said to me, when I said to him, I said, can I have an empty can of Red Bull? And he said, why do you want it empty? I said, so I can show this. There we go. It's going to turn off any minute. It's just sealing the bag. There we go. So you can see the pressure that comes on it. But if you want to do it yourself by finger, you do have the option on here. So if I didn't want to crush that can, pass that around, you can see the amount of pressure that's in this. So if you wanted to do it gradually and just take the air out just before it starts doing the can, then you have the option. Okay, don't know whether you heard, but the soup maker, in actual fact, bleeped at me 4 times and it's now turned itself off. Okay, so we've now cooked. So how quick and easy was that? Plus, you're only doing this in one vessel. I mean, normally, I presume when you're doing your soup, you're frying the onions off, then you're either putting it into a pressure cooker or a saucepan. It's cooking for absolutely ages. Then you have to start cooling it down to put it into a blender. So there's an awful lot of washing up as well, and I'll go through the washing up with you in just a minute. So this is the naughty bit. It's very important that you don't put too much cream in soup. Very important. People normally are aghast when I put that much cream in. Okay, and I've decided that I'm going to have smooth soup. However, if I wanted to have chunky soup, then I would just be pushing that button there. However, I want to do smooth soup. So on to number 1, and then on to number 2. The lovely thing about doing carrot and coriander is that you see it actually change colour as it's going, because then the coriander will start, and it goes like a lovely mustardy sort of colour. You've got a 3-year guarantee on the soup maker. And as I was saying to you earlier about the washing up, there's 3 ways to wash it up. You can either put the whole jug into your sink, no problem whatsoever. All the parts are fully washable, obviously not the base. Or what you can do is you can put it into your dishwasher, but please don't put the lid in. There's a seal here, and the silicone seal, it will go exactly as you were saying earlier about silicone, and it will go. Plus the numbers will rub off there, and your Cuisinart name will slightly fade, but you can do it. The other one is much, much easier, and that is that once you've served your soup, tip it out, tip the balance out, wash it out underneath the sink, put some fresh water in, put it back on here, start the timer, boil the water up in here for about 3 or 4 minutes. Once it's turned itself off, a couple of drops of fairy liquid. Please don't put too much fairy liquid in, because we can all, by everybody's faces, you can all imagine exactly what happens. And then blend it, and it just cleans itself. So it's very, very quick and easy. Now, can we see any bits? I think we're near enough there, aren't we? Yeah. Okay. Now, let's have a taster. Guess who gets the first taster? So, as I say, 4 bowls of lunchtime size soup. Just going to take those little bits out that just stuck in the lid and that never did find themselves. There we go. Four bowls of lunchtime size soup, stick starter. Okay. And because we're posh, we've got some croutons as well. So let me just taste this. I would have put more salt in it. I think it needs more salt, but does everybody cook with salt these days? Do you still cook with? Oh, well, then you'll be all right with it. It's just that I always cook with salt. So the other thing that I was just going to say to you just before you start coming up and tasting the soup, and that is, you remember I said to you, you can put it in your sink. I don't know whether I can do this. Can you see under there? There's all the electrics. That can go in as well. Okay, so do not be frightened. The whole of that, okay, can get wet, all right? If, when I'm demonstrating, obviously I get drips down, okay? So sometimes some of the soup occasionally just sits in there. Very occasionally you will need to take top from bottom. If you want to do that, put the machine back on here, turn it round to the back, get somebody to hold that side, you hold that side and pull the jug and it will come undone. Then that will enable you to clean it, make sure the seal's back, and then it goes back on. But please make sure that when you do that, there is nothing inside the jug. Because once you've pulled it, that's it. If there's something in it, it goes all over the machine and you've ruined the motor and say goodbye to £100. So that's that. I'm going to do some samples now. Does anybody have any questions about either machine? Either shout them out or come up and see me privately. Does anybody have any questions? Looks as if I've covered everything then, doesn't it? Right, let's do some tasting.